Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely dismantle the idea that snakes are just, simple, primitive crawlers. We are diving deep to reveal them as highly evolved biological marvels. Honestly, they're equipped with sensory systems that, frankly, put our modern technology to shame.
Right off the bat, I want you to picture this. Imagine trying to track down a fast-moving target in a completely pitch-black cave. You don't have a flashlight, no night vision goggles, no sonar. How would you even begin to do it? Well, for us humans, it's virtually impossible. But for a snake, that's literally just another Tuesday. They've evolved these absolutely incredible ways to map their environment without relying on standard eyesight at all.
So here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Evolutionary origins. 2. Seeing the invisible. 3. Tasting the air. 4. The snake supercomputer. And 5. Inspiring future tech. Let's just jump right in.
Section 1. Evolutionary origins. From the underground.
To truly wrap our heads around these sensory superpowers, we really have to look back at their history. Fossil and genetic evidence, specifically when scientists look at the inner ear structures of early snakes, shows that their ancestors actually lived underground. And because they spent their lives in these incredibly dim, subterranean environments, they began losing genes related to light and vision. And get this, that happened long before they even lost their limbs. So this intense environmental pressure really set the stage for everything that followed.
Living in the dark was a massive ecological challenge, and it forced a pretty radical evolutionary shift. Snakes essentially traded in their traditional eyesight for a whole array of highly specialized, non-visual sensors just to survive. They had to adapt to all sorts of different niches over time, whether that was climbing up trees or swimming in oceans, by developing entirely alternative ways to perceive the world around them.
Moving on to Section 2. Seeing the invisible. The biological thermal camera.
And that brings us perfectly to their most famous superpower, the ability to literally see heat. Certain snakes, specifically boids, pythons, and pit vipers, use this highly specialized structure right on their face called a pit organ. The membrane inside this pit acts exactly like a high-tech thermal camera. It's totally packed with nerves that essentially function like thermoelectric materials. They instantly convert the heat radiating from a warm-blooded animal directly into electrical signals that the snake's brain can read.
Now, the secret biological hardware running inside these pits is an ion channel known as TRPA1. We humans actually have similar channels that might react to, say, the burning sensation of a spicy chili pepper. But the snake's TRPA1 channel, it has evolved to be the absolute most sensitive heat-detecting mechanism discovered in any vertebrate species. Bar none. It makes them the undisputed champions of thermal detection.
What is truly mind-blowing about this ability, though, is the sheer scale. So a ball python can sense a heat source from about 30 centimeters away, which is impressive, right? But a western rattlesnake can perfectly sense a heat signature from an entire meter away. That's 100 centimeters of pinpoint thermal accuracy in complete darkness. It allows them to perfectly, flawlessly ambush their prey.
Section 3. Tasting the air. The chemical drone.
Okay, but what if the target is cold-blooded? Or what if it's hiding behind an obstacle where there's just no direct heat signature to pick up? Well, that is exactly when the chemical sampling drone is deployed. We've all seen a snake flicking its tongue, right? But that iconic flick isn't just to look scary. It's a highly precise mechanical process designed specifically to gather chemical data right out of the air. When the tongue extends, it captures odor molecules. Then, when it retracts, it mechanically delivers those molecules directly into a specialized sensory suite.
That sensory suite is called the vomeronasal organ, or Jacobson's organ, and it sits just above the roof of their mouth. You can think of it as a specialized onboard chemical laboratory. It analyzes those gathered molecules so incredibly well that young snakes can actually recognize the exact chemical signature of their preferred prey before they have ever eaten their very first meal. It is quite literally an instinctual, hardwired database of smells.
Which leads us to Section 4. The snake's supercomputer, processing the data.
So having all these unbelievable biological sensors is fantastic, but it's completely useless without a supercomputer brain capable of processing all that data in real time. The snake's brain is an absolute master of multimodal integration. It uses areas like the optic tectum to perfectly overlay blurry thermal images right on top of their visual data. Scientists have run experiments where a snake's thermal and visual sensors are crossed or blocked, and their strike success rate actually drops below 50%. But when all those systems are working together, The brain merges the signals to ensure lightning-fast, highly accurate strikes. They're relying on thermal contrast, much in the same way that we rely on light and dark contrast to see.
And the science perfectly illustrates the other side of this ancient evolutionary arms race too. When you look at EEG charts tracking the brainwaves of human infants, it's wild. When shown snake-like patterns, infant brains trigger a specific rapid neural oddball response. The snake's evolutionary perfection as an ambush predator has actually hardwired an instinctual alarm system right into the human brain. We're born knowing to look out for them.
Finally, Section 5, Inspiring Future Tech, Bionics and Soft Robotics. The really crucial takeaway here is that none of this is just ancient history. We are looking at how this biological supercomputer is directly inspiring our future technology today. Right now, scientists are deeply mapping snake genetics, their organ adaptation, and skeletal structures. By sequencing their genomes and studying their unique transcriptomes, researchers are effectively reverse engineering how these highly adaptable sensory systems actually work down at the molecular level.
All of this mapping has directly led to some incredible breakthroughs in bionics. Engineers are building soft robots that utilize the snake's central pattern generator, which is a neurorhythmic system, allowing these robots to easily navigate complex disaster zones. Furthermore, by mimicking a snake's highly sensitive touch receptors, scientists have developed electronic skin that allows robots to actually feel pressure. And amazingly, it can even simulate a sense of pain so the robot knows to avoid environmental damage.
So it really leaves us with a totally fascinating thought to end on. If the ancient biology of snakes, creatures that retreated into the dark underground millions and millions of years ago, is serving as the literal blueprint for tomorrow's artificial intelligence and robotics, what other unbelievable superpowers hidden out there in nature are just waiting to be decoded? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open and stay curious.